What's up, everybody? We are here. It's not the Motor Stardom Show. It's late. It's 11:34 p.m. Eastern, and we're just going to experiment here with a little football show. It's post-game. It's, Monday Night Football just took place. It was the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. I'm RJ Starsvik. Along here with me is Tanner Propella, who capped off the Motor Stardom Show last week on Tuesday, the first season of that. So we're going to talk some football here since you can't stay away from the microphone. It's been a rough week of primetime games. We had the abysmal Thursday night game, which I'm glad I was not able to watch. I was out playing baseball in Davenport, Florida this weekend. Last night's Sunday night football game, I did attempt to watch that and turned it off, just as many of us did. And then tonight, wish I could turn the game off as well. But we are here talking about the show here tonight. So had to have some insight as to what happened. But tonight in primetime on Monday night, the Eagles defeat the Packers 10-7. Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, neither of them could touch over 190 yards in tonight's football game. Only one touchdown in the entire game. And it was a passing touchdown from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith. This was what sealed it. A little play action there to Pink Bigsby. And how about a big throw to Devontae Adams that they seem to just be able to hit whenever they want to. Kind of takes it back to the Super Bowl. But as you can see, that is literally the one highlight we got from this game. Fantastic. We are all tired. We're all tired in general, tired of primetime football. Let's slide in our boy Nick in here. NFL trades. I don't know if you got anything else to say about this game. I'm exhausted.
I have a couple things to say. I think it's insane that it took 4 quarters. Going into the fourth quarter, neither QB had 100 passing yards. And it took 4 full quarters for a singular touchdown to get scored. Jordan Love had 2 fumbles, one he recovered by himself. And then Josh Jacobs gave the ball away by a forced fumble by the new addition to the Eagles defense, Jalen Phillips, which is, why are we trading with the Eagles? They're good enough. Why are we giving the Eagles even better defensive guys? That's the last thing the NFL needs. And this game was shit. This game sucked. The Steelers game last night sucked. Don't even get me started on the Steelers game last night. And I was drunk at an Applebee's watching the Bo Nix experience, and that was even worse than what I just witnessed.
Awesome. Well, let's pass it over to you, Nick. I know we won't get to that Steelers game yet. Let's stick on the Eagles-Packers game at least for a little bit. Let us know your thoughts on tonight. I think you're muted also.
Yo, his TV's freaking mudded.
He's mudded. He's speechless about that game tonight.
He's saying a whole lot of nothing, Jim.
I think the mic's still not working. What did you use last time? Oh.
There we go. We're working.
Got something.
Finally working. I do not want to go to that Steelers game. Not talking. No, but for real, I just really thought both these teams came in with the same type of script in terms of what they were going to do, game plan, everything wise. And neither of it didn't work for either team. In terms of offensive play calling, it just, to me, they would get into 2nd and long, and then they run the ball. And then it wouldn't work. And then they'd be like, oh, now it's 3rd and obvious. We can't do anything. Both these teams haven't had very much so a 3rd and long answer. And the 3rd and long answer for the Packers was Tucker Kraft. Open in the middle of the field when it was open. And guess what the Eagles did all night is leave the middle of the field open all night. And there was no one on the Packers that could really do anything about it. So it just kept being 3 and outs. And it was just only a matter of time till one play would break loose with that Saquon play. And then Devontae they're able to do play action and get a long play, and that was the Packers touchdown was because the Eagles are playing pretty soft defense there at the end. But that was like the really only real touchdown that really, only bit of offense we watched. And like you guys said when I came in, is that was the only highlight we really got in the entire game. So I kind of expected a game like this, but not this boring, not this terrible offensive play calling. I truly believe LaFleur is on a short leash here after this game.
I think there's a lot of miscues on the Packers offense as well. Like you said, the middle of the field was always open, but there was a point in the game where Josh Jacobs and who was it? It was a different Packers receiver. They both were running slants and ran into each other.
I think it was
causing Jordan Love to be like, well,
Melton.
Yeah, they both ran into each other, and one of those was gonna be open if they didn't run into each other. So Jordan Love had to throw the ball away. Just terrible offense all around. You would expect Luke Musgrave to fill in for Tucker Kraft not being there, and he just didn't get fed as much as he should have, or just couldn't get open as well. And terrible week of primetime games.
Yeah, not the prettiest for sure. Not that I expected Thursday night to be pretty. I think if I had to rank all I knew kind of like Nick said, like I expected tonight to be that type of game where it wasn't going to be a shootout. It was probably going to be a defensive game, lower scoring, especially with what we've seen out of the Packers this season, which is not much, right? You're coming off a loss to the Panthers. You kind of gotta rally here. You got to prove yourself, and not great to. Well, I mean, it can be a great opportunity to prove yourself against what is now the best team in the NFC. But just didn't show up. And you mentioned Matt LaFleur. I kind of came up quick. A lot of Packers fans are calling for this guy's head.
Head on a spike.
That came up on us really fast. And I mean, we've seen this in the NBA or other places more than the NFL as far as coaches like getting on the hot seat really fast after doing stuff for years. But again, it's more of what are you doing for me now? And Packers fans are looking at the playoff losses, right? And how they're looking at a season where, yes, they still have a winning record, right? But have not looked great at all. Do I think Matt LaFleur is going to get fired? I don't think so. Packers have seemed to retain their coaches for a while, at least in recent memory. But definitely something to watch with an offense that certainly has not clicked as well as we've seen in previous years, especially with, the addition of Josh Jacobs recently as well. You expect him to keep performing. How about Josh Jacobs getting in there and making it happen for Green Bay. I saw something. What was the tweet we had here? Oh, this was a good one. This was at that point in the fourth quarter. Grayson Allen has more threes than the Packers have points tonight. So it was a rough showing. It was a rough showing for Green Bay. But yeah, I mean, do we think Matt LaFleur is rightfully? I mean, Tanner, you kind of brought it up. So Nick, I'll direct the question to you. Do you think Matt LaFleur rightfully can be on somewhat of a hot seat, maybe a warm seat?
Well, that's why I say short leash. Again, like you said, I don't think he gets fired per se, but
yeah,
to me is his vanilla style offense is getting exposed in ways we kind of expected it. I mean, I wouldn't say we, a lot of Packers fans expected this to happen. Yeah. But again, like the fourth down call, like fourth in ball game call, like on 4th and 2 or something. It was just a run up the middle. I don't understand why you do that. To me, a lot of like I said, that 2nd and 7, it was like 2nd and 7 plus, like it was like 75% on 2nd and 7. They were running the ball, and it was like, why? Like you guys can have a passing game. We know it. We've seen it. We can trust Jordan Love. Allow him to do that. So, and I don't. This is something you do with a backup quarterback. I don't know why they're afraid to be more aggressive. It's this conservative play calling that has led LaFleur to be in this position that he is in with the Green Bay fandom. And to me, it's like Mike Tomlin Jr. It's just so vanilla that teams have just picked it up, and it's just not going to be sustainable long term.
Yeah. I'm gonna add to that. We've seen Jordan Love be so good. We have seen the highest of highs for Jordan Love. We've seen him win playoff games. I mean, we've seen people compare him to elites considered in the league right now, but he doesn't really show it, and I feel like that's partially LaFleur's problem. Like he just doesn't allow. He plays a soft vanilla offense, and comparing him to Mike Tomlin is very real. I could 100% agree with that, and I'm not, as a Steelers fan, I am not as big of a Mike Tomlin guy. I think he's been holding the Steelers back for years, and I don't think Matt LaFleur should get fired. I don't think he will get fired, but it's just minor fit. He just has some minor fixes that he needs to make for them to figure stuff out. Like the Packers can win big games, but they just haven't as of recently.
Yeah, I mean they're still in a spot with a winning record, right? They're in that spot where you have a lot of things to fix, but hey, we got wiggle room, right? We're not in like a must-win situation here. Although you'd like to win out the rest of the season, but they can still have some room to fix things. So it's really interesting. You would have thought, and this is no slight on Malik Willis, but you would have thought Malik Willis was quarterback of the Green Bay Packers the way the plays were called for that game. I mean, we take back to when Willis was able to start those games, and it almost seemed like it was a masterclass.
And they won games
the
with
Packers were able to get by teams, and be able to, for Malik Willis to be able to play a safe game, right? And that's all he really needed to do, and they'd get by him. Josh Jacobs would just run down people's throats. And now it's almost like we're getting the same game, but with Jordan Love back in the game, And so as a Saints fan, going through the times where Drew Brees would go down, it was a completely different play calling than when we had Drew Brees at the helm or when Teddy Bridgewater had to come in, right, and fill in for him and go 5-0, right? While he did go 5-0, right, it was completely different offense than it was with Drew Brees, but the willingness to adjust, by Sean Payton was certainly interesting for the Saints. And it's just weird that, the Packers have taken such a dip for a team that you kind of expected, like, hey, this team could go into a shootout with somebody. And now it's like, okay, the defense might do the job, but the offense is just weary. I mean, obviously, if the Eagles' offense wasn't already, iffy at first, I think the game would have been out of hand. No question about it. So I believe the Packers go against the Giants next week, who will no longer have Brian Daboll. So if they lose to the Giants in that game, I think then it is time to press the ultimate panic button.
I would have to agree with that. Is Jackson Dart gonna play this week?
Probably not.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
you lose to the newly coached Giants with Russell Wilson at the helm and Tyrone.
I think they go with Jameis this week.
Jameis, you think so?
I'd love to see that's something they consider.
Like that. In that case, I think the Giants are winning that. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even saying that as a joke. Like,
no, I wholeheartedly, if Jameis Winston starting, I would safely take them over.
All he's got to do is throw like 3 touchdowns, and
Darius Slayton's gonna know how to play football. Just go bet the house on Darius Slayton. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, he gave me 10 fantasy points at the flex this week. Darius Slayton with a catch of the week. He made a great catch.
For some reason, ESPN decided to compare it to OBJ's catch.
Yeah, any one-handed catch gets compared to OBJ's, so that just doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, shout out to speaking of fantasy points, shout out to Matt Prater for his 1 point this week. Great contribution to the team. Shout out TJ Hawkinson, 2.8 points this week. Just awesome job by the boys. We came up 10 points short of the win this weekend. Anyways, shout out those guys. But anyways, nonetheless, yeah, it would certainly be rough if they go into next week and lose to the Giants. But if Nick is on par here, which I believe he is, I really certainly am going to roll with that prediction there and that thought. The Giants starting Jameis might be it, man. The Packers are going to.
He should have been. Well, he should have been the one that went in when Jackson Dart went out. That should have been a decision made weeks ago when they not when they benched Russell Wilson, but after weeks following Jackson Dart's rise. I think they should have decided, well, if Jackson Dart goes out, we need a spark, somewhat of a spark. And Winston can provide, obviously, we know how he is in certain game situations, but
Yeah.
Wilson provided absolutely nothing when Dart went out, like literally nothing. And he provided nothing when Dart went out the last time. So to me, this should be an obvious answer to go with Winston. And don't be surprised, again, like you said, don't be surprised if the Giants win, because interim head coaches have a good streak of winning football games on their first game. So it's not out of the question, especially with how the Packers have been playing those said bad teams. All these trap games they're letting get ahead of them. It's all because they said, what was it, 2-0, Rasheed Walker?
Yeah.
Talking about this team can go undefeated. Ever since then, they've lost to two bad teams and a team playing terrible on offense. So
the NFL is just an unpredictable league at the moment. You have the Packers go into prime time and hand the Steelers an L, lose, and then the week before that, lost to the Browns, and the week after, lose to the Panthers. It's unpredictable. It's crazy.
It is. You can't predict what's going to happen next. It's a league of matchups, and I feel like a lot of sports are getting that way. And they've always been that way to a sense, but it's just any given Sunday is the phrase. And I look at the playoff picture here, obviously, as we're kind of reach a halfway point through the season. I think the Packers definitely have the benefit of being in the NFC. Right now they hoist the 7th seed. But I look at the teams below them, San Francisco. We don't really know what they're bringing to the table each and every week. They're going to roll with Purdy, they're going to roll with Jones. We know they're a pretty solid team. Can they keep that momentum up? But then you got the Panthers, right? When are they going to slide? You got the Vikings. They just can't seem to really get it together. Cowboys, Cardinals, Falcons, Commanders, I think the Packers definitely have breathing room with the teams that are below them to be able to squeeze into the wild card, because I don't think they win their division. That's for sure. I think the Lions certainly beat them out. The Bears are beating them right now. Again, that's another thing of like, how long will that last? But as far as the Packers
twice.
I mean, what was that?
They still got to play the Packers twice.
Yeah, and that's usually where it goes downhill when you're the Bears, even if it's on a blocked field goal last year. But yeah, just kind of looking at this real quick, kind of last thing, I guess, specifically on the Packers, but do we think they have a shot to miss the playoffs? Any of those teams that I listed below there, you think realistically are going to overcome the Packers?
I think if the Panthers are smart enough to start Rico Dowdle, I think the Panthers could sneak in, just because Rico Dowdle, when he does start, has that effect to take the entire offense over and run for over 100 yards plus, score once or twice. And the Panthers defense is able to hold off whoever they're playing at the time and win games. I think the Panthers are a sneaky pick to slide in there. And they're not in the greatest division. Like the Buccaneers aren't winning the big games that they should be winning. I think the Panthers are a sleeper to slide in. And I don't even think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I think the best team in the NFC would be the Rams.
I agree.
You have Devontae Adams, who leads the league in receiving touchdowns, and you have Matt Stafford, who is, in my opinion, the league MVP outside of Jonathan Taylor. So I think, to answer your question, the Panthers are the sneaky team that I think could overcome and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I like it. Unk still got it over there in LA for sure. I think me personally, if I were to go to one team, I just never trust the Panthers. Obviously, after I just watched them get their ass whooped by Tyler Shuck and the New Orleans Saints this past weekend, that doesn't give me any confidence. Realistically, I think the 49ers are the main candidate there. They always just find a way. No matter what you think about them. But I don't know. I look at these teams. I don't want to totally count out Minnesota. Just I don't know. I never want to count them out every year, but with all the weapons they have, and I mean, Tanner, we've talked about this plenty of times, with all the weapons that the Minnesota Vikings always have every single year, they just can never seem to get it together. And it mainly is always on the quarterback side, and so JJ McCarthy had a rough weekend, rough game this past weekend. That doesn't bid them well. They're in a great division. So I don't know, a lot of rocky teams here. Maybe Jacoby Brissett pulls one out of his ass and just rallies the Cardinals through the wild card. But is there anybody that sticks out to you, Nick? Obviously, the Commanders have fell a lot. The Falcons have tanked this season.
I think the Seahawks are a bigger contender than people actually make them out to be. And I
like that.
I know Darnold is such a polarizing candidate right now because it seems like if you dropped, let's say you dropped somebody like from a different planet onto this earth 2 years ago and they were forced to watch NFL games for the last 2 years. Who is like the best regular season quarterback that they're going to say? What would you know what I'm saying? Like what would be the best quarterback that would come out of their mouth? And to me, it would be Darnold in terms of regular season. But the problem always has been, with these kind of quarterbacks that resurface their careers, can they win in the playoffs? And that is going to be the question. But I just think this, and I like the Rashid Shaheed trade. Is it going to be what takes him over the top? I wouldn't say that all, but to me, I feel like they can actually do some damage come playoff time. I think they're not as much of a slouch as people are going to make them out to be. I feel like I can trust Darnold going forward. I don't think the Packers are just going to miss the playoffs. I think the NFC and AFC are so weird right now because the AFC is so open in the sense that all the teams that are usually the contenders are not high in record. But the teams that we see is like the Colts, the Patriots, Broncos, who are not our usual, contenders, are all in high records. So it feels more open. Whereas the NFC, everyone's kind of close and it feels like anybody could get in. But I feel like the Rams, Seahawks, those teams, like I know the Eagles played poorly offensively, but I feel like Eagles even per se, those three teams have kind of just shot themselves above everybody else in AFC in terms of how they're going to do in the playoffs. But again, like you said, the NFL in general is just in such a unprecedented time where we have no clue who is really the big dog in all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I look at the AFC. I mean, I've seen this analogy so many times already the last few weeks, but I mean, it almost looks like 10 years ago. I mean, you got the number 1 seed. You got Andrew Luck's Colts, Peyton Manning's Broncos in second, Brady's Patriots. You got, hey, man, the Steelers still in the 4th seed, holding down the division there, baby. The Chargers in 5th, Bills 6th, Jaguars with a big slide this weekend against Houston, almost letting them back inside the battle there with Stroud out. And the Chiefs right there at 5-4, keeping rally. Big game coming up this weekend. With the Chiefs and the Broncos at 4:25, I believe, on CBS. That'll be a big teller there. But yeah, I mean, both conferences are really open. I think this is going to make for a great wild card chase. Like I think in the NFC, I think it'll be more so that 7th seed, 6th, 7th seed per se. Damn it. But I think in the AFC, it's wide open. I think that's going to be right down to the wire. I mean, if we get down like hypothetically to where the Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, right, are all fighting for the 7th spot, I think that's crazy. I think that'd make for great TV, like you mentioned, Nick, all the teams that were supposed to be contending are down there, in that battle. And so I guess, kind of one question, I guess, is we're in this midpoint of the season for either one of you, for either conference. Is there any team that is down at the bottom? Maybe they only got 3 wins this season, maybe even 4. Do you think still have a strong shot for Ravens. That wild card? Who?
Ravens I want to say Ravens for like obvious answer because Lamar Jackson has played much less games this year than every quarterback. and he has more passing touchdowns than Josh Allen does. So Ravens is a very obvious answer for the AFC. But if I'm gonna give my pick, I'm gonna stay in the AFC North, and I'm gonna say the Bengals. Joe Flacco's held it down for them as much as he could, and I mean Joe Burrow's gonna come back and only do so much. Like I think Joe Burrow could come back and dominate, considering how open the AFC North is. Like the Steelers are not holding down that division at all, not as much as I'd want them to. And that division's anyone's division, really. I think the Jags could also figure stuff out and sneak their way in. That loss to Houston was terrible, but I mean they traded for another wide receiver, so they're off. I mean, Jacoby Myers didn't do much without BTJ being there, but I think they could figure stuff out and win it. And if I'm going to go for my NFC answer, this has nothing to do with the question, but I do like the Seahawks a lot. Sam Darnold, I mean, there's very little room for them to not succeed. That offense is JSN's the best wide receiver in football right now.
Yeah.
That they have two great running backs that they don't even need to use because Sam Darnold's throwing for 200 yards and a half, and they're winning by 30 plus almost every. They're blowing out the bad teams. It's not like they're playing the bad teams and they're losing by like a point. They're blowing them out every single week. You know, I think the Seahawks are the most consistent in the NFC. I think the Vikings can figure stuff out there. It's open. It's wide open no matter where you are. You just got to win the big games.
Yeah, there's a lot of big games coming up because what I've been doing is individually kind of looking at some of these teams' schedules, like the Bengals, the Ravens, the Texans. These teams kind of in that hunt, and they got some tough sledding ahead of them. I mean, even the Texans, the next, after they play the Titans and get a free win there, which I guess you never know. They got Bills, Colts, Chiefs, 3 in a row. You look at the Bengals, obviously we, fantasize about them making a comeback. Steelers, Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Ravens is their next 5 games, right? And if you can't even beat the damn Jets or the Bears, that is going to be very, very tough sledding for them. But again, you never know when they can get it together. Hey, the Bengals had a bye week. Maybe
I have a hot take here.
What's up?
I think the Colts are very fraudulent.
Ooh. And what makes you say that?
They're keeping it close with the teams that shouldn't be keeping it close. They're going to overtime against the Falcons. They're losing to the Steelers, holding Jonathan Taylor down to 45 yards rushing, and the Steelers are ranked 30th defense in the league, meaning if a defense really wants to step up that day and stop Jonathan Taylor, it is kind of possible. And I mean, they traded for Sauce Gardner, sure, but I think that anyone could in the AFC that is a competitor, a true competitor, could take down the Colts.
Yeah, I mean they're in that spot where I feel like maybe not the Texans, but they're in that spot where they do have to prove themselves. They're beating people in the regular season here, but they're going to get a bye week. I believe they have this week, and then it looks like they're going to come back against the Chiefs in 2 weeks, which I think will be
a big game,
big test for
that
them.
Proves everything for them.
That's a huge game right there. Then they go 2 straight divisionals. Texans, Jaguars should be good wins for them, but divisional games you never know. And then Colts, Seahawks, that'll be a good one. At the second week of December. So there'll be opportunities for them to prove themselves. I think they easily still take the division. Their schedule looks pretty simplified other than that, but they will have games to prove themselves. I think they have to treat that Chiefs game like a playoff game, simulate that playoff atmosphere. They'll be in Arrowhead, right? So that will also be a big testament to them. But I think that's an interesting take. I mean, to me, I think the difference between them is I think their defense has definitely shown signs of strength. Getting Sauce Gardner is a big plus. But my question is really just the offense. I know their defense can put it together. Is their offense going to be able to stay consistent? How long can Daniel Jones produce? But the part that makes me kind of draw back on that is, okay, even if Daniel Jones doesn't have his best game, who's at running back for the Colts? Who's been dogging it this year, right? And that's Jonathan Taylor. So, what do you say? I mean, who'd you say was MVP, Tanner? Your vote? Matthew Stafford?
Matt Stafford and or Jonathan Taylor. I think I'm sick of watching QBs win that award, and the only QB worth that award right now is Matt Stafford. But outside of that, I would give it to Jonathan Taylor, considering Saquon Barkley won Offensive Player of the Year last year, and Jonathan Taylor through 10 games has more touchdowns than he did all last year. Leads the league in rushing yards, leads the league in rushing touchdowns, and he's a great receiving back as well. I think Jonathan Taylor should win that award. I don't know how Patrick Mahomes is a front runner for that. I just like that is strictly because he is Patrick Mahomes, nothing else. He doesn't lead in a passing stat. He has a worse QBR than freaking Drake May, Matt Stafford. I wouldn't even give it to Drake May. I think it's Matt Stafford or Jonathan Taylor's award.
What do you think, Nick? Who's your MVP?
If JSN gets 2,000, could we see a wide receiver get the MVP for the first time in history? If he gets that 2K, it's a genuine question because I'm not guaranteeing it, but if he gets that 2K, it could mean a lot. I mean, I could give it to Sam Darnold as well, right, as of right now. I truthfully think that that's a possibility. They, like you said, they've been playing very consistent. I can see a world where if he keeps it up like this and he gets another team to 14 wins, which is totally, I haven't checked their schedule, but it's totally plausible that he gets them another team back-to-back seasons, 14 wins. How can you not say that this guy is not, if he keeps it up, MVP of the league? But again, I am with Tanner. Matthew Stafford is it for me right now in terms of MVP. 20 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in the last couple weeks. That, to me, screams MVP.
Oh, yeah.
21 total touchdowns to a 2 interception ratio with the best QBR in the league and 4th in passing yards. I mean, how could you not love that? He's consistent, I think Matt Unk still got it. He turned the clock back. Sean McVay's offense looks elite. I think the Rams are also a pretty well-rounded team. That defense is very young and very good.
Yeah.
I think it's you could debate Matt Stafford, you could debate JSN, Jonathan Taylor, and like you said, Sam Darnold. I haven't heard that yet, but I like that a lot.
Well, oh, you got muted.
Yo, Nick, you mudded, bro.
Got mudded. Double mudded.
How does this happen?
We're back to square one.
No. We're 35. We're 30 minutes.
However you undid it last time.
All right. Well, technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Anyways,
we'll
Nick had a hot take there. Unfortunately, didn't come out in time. He's going to work on that. But I was going to say, I wanted to give my top 3 biggest games upcoming in Week 11 that I believed, in my opinion. Now, I made this top 3 forgetting that the Seahawks and Rams play this weekend. So we actually got a fantastic Sunday of football coming up. I'm actually hyped because we got a lot of great games coming up this Sunday. But my 3, I guess, in the top 3 biggest games besides Seahawks, Rams, we got Bills and Bucks this weekend at 1. I think this is a big game for both teams. The Bucks are coming off a painful loss. The Bills are coming off definitely a painful loss.
Much more painful considering they lost to the Dolphins by double digits.
Yes, exactly. And so it's like which potential Super Bowl contender, right, that people, imagine them to be at their peak, is going to come up here with a W. So that game is going to be in Buffalo, going to be in the cold for Tampa. Certainly an interesting dynamic for them. Second on that list, I'm going to go Lions and Eagles on Sunday Night Football. It's a primetime game. Can we get a better Eagles game than tonight? I freaking hope so. It's going to be a lot hard it's going to be pretty hard to do worse than what we saw tonight. But again, kind of a playoff matchup to see who is able to step up. Will it be the Lions? Will it be the Eagles, the proclaimed best team in the NFC? But I think the true best team in the NFC matchup is going to be that Rams-Seahawks matchup for sure. But my number one matchup that I'm looking forward to this upcoming week, baby, it's round 2 of the Unk Bowl. Round 2 of the Unk Bowl in week 11. It's Joe Flacco's Bengals going against Aaron Rodgers' Steelers, which surprisingly, with how crazy this season's went with wins and losses, this is a big game in the division, as it always is in the AFC North, as the Bengals are 2 games back from the Steelers. The Ravens are smack down right in the middle of them too. Who's going to come out on top here? I believe this game is in Acrisure, if I'm not mistaken, or is this in Cincy?
Is this a 1 o'clock game by chance?
Yes, it is. Yeah, 1 o'clock game in Acrisure.
That is a Steelers win written all over it. If the Steelers were to play at 1 o'clock every single week, they would not lose. The Steelers are insane at winning 1 o'clock games when there's better games going on and no one's going to watch the Steelers, because the Steelers tend to shit themselves when they're on a primetime game. And I think the Steelers get their get back here. Hopefully they make a defensive adjustment called, hey, guard Jamar Chase better. He had 24 targets and 16 catches against the Steelers last time they matched up. So you would assume that we try to double Jamar Chase better there. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a great graphic to sum up the week. I think the Steelers get it done against the Bengals. I think the Lions get it done against the Eagles. The Eagles defense was good enough to stop the Packers, as we just saw, but I don't know if they will be good enough to stop how good of a run Gibbs has been on recently. Gibbs is coming off a super hot week. The Lions are. I feel like most NFC like teams are kind of iffy, and I feel like the Lions are kind of that way. Like the Lions can kind of lose however they feel like it, but they can win in a great fashion. I think that's the Lions win. No bias there, because I just hate the Eagles and hate seeing them win whatsoever. So I'd like to see the Lions win there. And then I think the Bills take over the Bucs. Baker Mayfield hasn't been playing his best. Their O-line's still banged up. Bucky Irving will not be back for that game. And as much as Egbuka's stepping up and playing a wide receiver role as a rookie, I don't know if the Bucs will get it done against Josh Allen and the Bills. Josh Allen's going to be pissed that he just lost to the Dolphins, and I think they're going to come back and win that.
He is going to be angry. That's for sure. And certainly interested to see how that plays out, as I will try and insert a photo here. I'm going to do this. We got our Week 11 matchups I will display here on the screen for us so we can all just look at them widely. Nick is dead. Nick is gone from the stream. Nick's
okay,
bad.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it might be worse audio, but...
You sound like you're in a fighter jet, but it's low-key badass.
My Yeti just is not... It just keeps unrecognizing.
It's all right.
You sound like Darth Vader, dude. And it's kind of tough. Don't fix it.
It's all right. By the time we get big, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna be loaded in money and podcast equipment. It's gonna be so fire, and can't wait for that. When the stimulus checks hit, what I'm saying, we're gonna have all the podcast equipment in the world paid.
Oh my gosh! I mean, this is a Yeti. It should be working better, but this is just.
Damn, man. Mine blinks on me sometimes. It's all right. But at the end of the day, we're here. We're talking football. We're talking week 11. And I'd say, at least to kind of get to the end of this, let's all collectively go around the table, make our week 11 picks here. We're going to start off with what I'm sure will be America's game of the week on Thursday night, following up the absolute barn burner by the Raiders and the Broncos. We have Justin Fields and the New York Jets.
Trap game.
against against Drake May and the Patriots. The Jets coming off a win against the Cleveland Browns.
They haven't lost in 3 weeks.
Exactly. The Jets have not lost in a long time. And the Patriots coming off a win against the Bucks. Who we got in this game, guys?
I'm going to safely take the Patriots. The Jets beat the Browns off of 2 special teams touchdowns, and the only positive passing yards that Justin Fields had was a 43-yard screen pass touchdown to Breece Hall. I think the Patriots handle that.
As long as the Patriots don't have the game they had against the Steelers, they should handily win this.
Yes.
Good take. It's a good take. All right. So I'm rolling with the Patriots as well. That will take us over to Sunday morning, which they are hoping to follow up another great game over in Germany. They're still in Germany, right? Again, I believe.
No, I thought they were gonna be in Spain.
This is Madrid.
Oh yeah, the Madrid game. Yes, they are in the Madrid game between Washington and Miami.
First Spain game?
I think
so.
I don't think there was one last year, but nonetheless, we get an absolute barn burner between 2, 3, and 7 teams. One with momentum, one without. I'm going to roll with the Dolphins here. I think Miami keeps the momentum up. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to admit it, but they looked great last weekend. They look like the Miami Dolphins that we expect them to be. Not the greatest team in the world, but certainly not what they've done at the beginning of this year. So Jalen Waddle's turned it on. Achane's been incredibly consistent, and Tua seemed to lock in last week as well. So I'm going to roll with Miami in this game.
I'm also going to take the Dolphins. I think Achane is the centerpiece to that offense, and he seems kind of unstoppable at the moment. Well, unstoppable to the Commanders' defense, at least. I think he's going to have a good game. Jalen Waddle's the only competent wide receiver over there. And as long as Tua doesn't forget what team he plays for, I think that's a safe Dolphins win.
Hey, we should have known. When Miami beat Atlanta, after Atlanta had already beat the Bills, we should have known this was coming.
That's true.
And so I'm going to go with the Commanders.
All right.
Okay.
Pat McAfee.
Misdirection. I don't know. A lot of these teams, like the Dolphins, like the Falcons, there's a lot of teams that, like you said earlier, RJ, it's a lot of matchup based for them. They can have a great matchup and they're going to take advantage of it, or they're going to have a team that absolutely is just going to put them on their backs. And I don't think Commanders. The thing is, to me, is I think this is a trap game in the sense that Dolphins have had all this momentum, and the Commanders are super depleted. Like they're bar none depleted as hell. And so I think this is going to be a game where everyone expects, okay, Miami, they're on this run. They got momentum, like you said. I just think that they're just going to handle this game because they're more of a professional team than Miami is.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. They are favored to win as well in the sports books. I felt I should check.
Wait, who's favored?
Washington.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Washington is favored to win this game at the moment. And
what's the
then
spread?
That'll take us the spread. What is the spread?
It might not say on there.
Commanders plus 2.5.
Oh wow,
is the spread.
That seems about right.
Take that spread.
Over under is 47.5. So we'll see how that ends up. Another game where the lower team record, I guess they have the same, but Atlanta Falcons are favored against the Panthers. This game is going to be played in Atlanta. We got a Panthers team coming off an ass whooping by Blake Grupe and the New Orleans Saints. So certainly not high vibes over there, looking to turn it around. And then Atlanta coming off a game with Indianapolis. Algier is pounding the rock. For that team, Carolina did not impress me at all last week. I think it's going to be dependent on which team has a better run game, to be honest. Neither pass game has been fantastic. But in Atlanta, I'm gonna go with Atlanta taking this game and go the safe bet. I think Algier continues the momentum. Bijan, kind of picks up some steam, and I think Atlanta takes it. I think it'll be a close divisional matchup, but I think Atlanta takes this game.
I think this is a game where everyone expects the Falcons to win, and the Falcons should win. And for that exact reason, I'm going to take the Panthers.
All right.
I think this is a game where you look at it and you're like, oh, Bijan should run through the Panthers defense, no problem. And Penix should throw through the Panthers defense, no problem. But I think that is what matters the most, is when you look at a team and you expect them to win and you have such high hopes for them to win, and they just don't. I think that's been the story of the NFL this entire season, is the better looking on paper team can't get it done. And I think that this is a Panthers win this week.
Yep. I know Red Zone won't be showing that game, that's for sure.
Can't wait.
Oh, dang it.
And
He's gone.
Nick, say nothing if the Panthers are going to win.
Nothing.
All right.
Hey.
It was working, and then it stopped working.
Keep pounding.
I need to keep pounding this Yeti. That's what I need to do. Man, so for me, the Atlanta Colts game was very indicative of both of those teams. If you take away their running game, they are going to, or sorry, the Colts Steelers game and the Falcons Colts game. If you take either of those teams' running games away, they're nothing. They don't exist. Like, they just don't exist on the plane. And that's what I was gonna say earlier until my mic got destroyed. I think it to me, this game is like Atlanta keeps bouncing back and forth. Like I said earlier, I think Atlanta bounces back here. I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Gotcha. I like it. So two for one there. 2 Atlanta, 1 Carolina. That moves us down here to the game I talked about, Tampa Bay, Buffalo. As far as who I think takes this one, I think this is a tough one. Both teams have kind of shown a little bit of inconsistency, but I think a team that's shown more consistency, than the other, I think Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be tough for them to roll in the cold and beat Buffalo. But Buffalo's got to show me something, honestly. Some rough performances this year. They barely even knocked off the New Orleans Saints. And I'm gonna keep using them as a as a weapon here against some teams, because if you have a close game with my New Orleans Saints, you got a problem. So I'm gonna roll with Tampa here. I still think they are a pretty solid football team. Had a little skid against the Patriots, who are really good right now. I think they knock off Buffalo in Buffalo, and I think that'll be a big win for them.
If it's in Buffalo and weather is a factor to where throwing the ball is not the best idea and it has to come down to a run game, I think James Cook steamrolls through that Buccaneers defense, who normally plays good in the rush, but Travion Henderson running all over them last week. I think Josh Allen needs to bounce back after a horrendous loss to the Dolphins. I think the Bills get it done.
Yeah, if this game was played in Tampa, I'd just say expect a shootout. The fact that it's getting played in Buffalo, to me, seems like it's gonna be more of a grinded out type of game. And the team that has proved to me time and time again that they can win those type of games is Buffalo, without a doubt. I'm gonna go with Buffalo here.
Gotcha. All right, and now that moves us down to Houston and Tennessee, the matchup that every year usually doesn't really matter, because either one of the teams is good and the other team is bad, but somehow ends up being a close game sometimes. So I'm going to roll with Houston here. They got the momentum. I don't know what Stroud's exact status is, but apparently Davis Mills can still sling that rock. The second coming of Mike Glennon out there making it happen for the Houston Texans. It's been a rough skid for Tennessee. They may make it a close game. I think they're a team that'll certainly have a better back half of the year than first half. Maybe not for the fans' favor, as they want another high draft pick, but I think the Texans take this game handedly.
I'm going to have to safely agree with you and say that the Texans win this game. I just don't think there's anything the Titans can do to possibly win this game. I mean, they all around just don't look great at all, considering they're 1-8. I mean, one win team, rookie quarterback, interim head coach. I just don't think that the Titans could possibly win this. I'm going to take the Texans.
If the Tennessee Titans would have shown me any bit of a life, I would have taken them here. And that's just because this division always tells me never to bet on it, especially at the bottom end of it. They're always going splitting games with each other every year. It feels like this seems like a game that Tennessee would win if they were not literally a college team being put out on the field. So I'm gonna go with Houston.
Sounds good. Sounds good. That moves us down to a game that probably won't be much prettier. That's the Chicago Bears against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, for this game, this is a big game for the wild card in the NFC, but as we've seen, the wild card in the NFC means absolutely nothing for pretty football. I'm going back and forth here, but I think I would have to rely on Minnesota here to have a prettier game than Chicago. Chicago had a tight one against a very depleted New York team. Yes, they are 6-3, but I think that's only going to last for so long. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Minnesota ends up getting it together. McCarthy will have a bounce-back game, and they just have too many offensive weapons to be suffering like this. I think Minnesota wins this game.
I'm going to agree with you and say that the Vikings also win this game. I don't think DJ Moore is playing this week. Correct? I'm pretty sure.
He played last week. It didn't say he was out, but he got 0 fantasy points, so thanks, DJ. But
I assumed he was hurt. I don't know if that's
definitely.
I don't know if that's true. And Nick is gone. And Nick is back. Hello.
Welcome back.
I think I'm going to safely take the Vikings here. I don't have much faith in JJ McCarthy, but I mean, this is his first full season he's played, and he has a lot of development that he can get into. I think all you have to do is just give Justin Jefferson the ball and pound the rock. I think take a little bit of pressure off JJ McCarthy, and I think the Vikings win this. I don't have much faith in the Bears having a positive record for too long.
So, for me personally, this just boils down to how much can you trust Caleb Williams against a Brian Flores-led defense. And until he proves me that he can get the ball out quick on time and not hold on to the ball, not try to do too much with it, and just run the system that Ben Johnson holds in front of him, which he's been working at, he's been developing, it's getting better. There is still some frustration and tension between those two in terms of just operating the system. And until he proves to me that he can do something like that and work well against a blitz-heavy defense, I will not take him. Because even Goff is really bad against blitz, and we saw it literally last week. Not this week, but last week 9. So I'm going to have to take Minnesota as well.
I respect it. Minnesota all across the board there. It moves us down to Green Bay, New York Giants. We talked about this earlier. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going Giants, baby. Jameis Winston starting that football game. I think the Giants will play Green Bay, and the Cheeseheads call for
You heard
that.
it here first. I'm reporting it.
Oh,
Jameis Winston will be starting.
That's what you're here for.
I think that heavily relies on who is at quarterback play for the Giants. Yeah. And if it does just so happen to be Jameis Winston, is that in New York?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. If Jameis Winston is at the helm, I will be taking the Giants to win that game.
Imagine the fans in that stadium.
Life will go.
If Jameis Winston starts and just starts on a heater.
It'll be like Cleveland's snow game last year.
Don't remind me of that, bro.
We couldn't see anything on the screen. Jeez.
You on Green Bay or New York, Nick?
Oh man, to me, this game is heavily like you could say, oh, they lost to this team, they lost to that team, but I think this game is heavily indicative of who the Packers are if they lose this game. I think if they lose this game, they might make the playoffs, but their season's over. Narratively, it's just over. You lose back to games, 2 of the 3 being against teams that I know the Panthers are 5-4, I believe, right? 5-4.
Yes.
5-5 now.
5-5. Yeah, they're like somewhere near 500, whatever. I don't believe in them. I don't think anybody else believes in them. I know I said Tanner, they can sneak the playoffs. I agree, they definitely can. I don't believe they have a heavy hitting schedule afterwards. But to me, Green Bay, if they lose this game against being 2 games to 2 teams that are clearly not of that level, that to me screams there's nothing there. So this is a must win for them. And they now, for most of the games, have been in the driver's seat. Like it's an easy win. Now it's to them. It's we gotta fight this one out. So I want to take Green Bay here.
And then down to very anticipated game here, the Bengals and the Steelers. Now I will say a few weeks back, this would have been a harder decision for me. I'm not gonna lie. Now I think, I don't know, I'm gonna go with my gut here. I'm gonna go with what I've seen at least this past weekend from the Steelers. Bengals coming off a bye. I think the Bengals shocked them to take this game. I think they find a way. Their offense has been so electric the last few weeks. The Steelers defense hasn't really proven to me that they would be able to stop it. Now I think the benefit here is they've already played them. They have played Flacco already compared to these other teams where they haven't played Flacco in this offense. So I think that'll benefit them, but I don't know, man. I think the Bengals take this game, and this division just continues to literally be anybody's game, unless you're Kevin Stefanski.
It's not anybody's game. It's Ravens. I'm gonna say it right now. Like this is not even a pessimistic Steelers fan right here. This is just a realist in saying that Ravens schedule. Like if you just look at their schedule, it's so easy. It's their division to lose at this point.
I think the Steelers win this game. Aaron Rodgers is coming off the worst game he's played in a Steelers uniform, and I think that's going to add some fuel to the fire for him to come out and have a good game against a Bengals defense that's not so great whatsoever. I think we, as much as Mike Tomlin doesn't do so, I think we do end up making a defensive adjustment to shutting down Jamar Chase. And I think the Steelers split with the Bengals this season. I think they get a win at that 1:00 game in Acrisure.
Yeah, I mean they got to be thinking about defensive adjustments. That's for sure. So we'll see if they make those. And speaking of defensive adjustments, the Jacksonville Jaguars will definitely need to be making some going into this weekend after what happened with the Texans. And that leads me to taking the Chargers. In that game, I think the Chargers have momentum. Jacksonville doesn't. They've shown signs of being good this year, but just haven't been able to finish games. That's a few games. Obviously, they finished that one against the Chiefs I was able to see, but it seems like some of these games they've lost just haven't been able to finish. Haven't been as strong as a team as maybe we thought they could be. But the Chargers seem to be hitting a stride. At least they were against the Steelers. I think they roll through the Jaguars, in my opinion.
I saw a stat that showed the PFF grade per position
For the O-linemen.
For the Chargers O linemen, and they're all ranked at least 35 to 36 out of like 38. I think that the Steelers defense played way too poorly for them to be losing that game against the Chargers. I think the Jags defense does step up and obliterate through that O-line, and I think I'd take the Jags here.
Chargers to me, like again, like they're like this is what I hope the Commanders will kind of turn into, but it depends on all on Dan Quinn. I think Harbaugh is really one of the biggest reasons to why they won that game last night. I guess 2 nights ago now, but or 2 days ago. Chargers to me, they are playing above their level right now, and I think that's really it speaks highly of Harbaugh. I think they can actually pull this one off and go on somewhat of a streak, heading with momentum into these the next few games here, and I think Chargers actually will take this one against Jacksonville.
I like it. I like it. I think the Chargers are certainly on a roll here. And we'll move down below there to Seattle and LA, potentially game of the week here, battle for the NFC. This one's definitely going to be a good one. You got the veteran, more experienced, obviously put together quarterback, at least Matthew Stafford having a great year. And then Sam Darnold also having a great year in his first year, though, with Seattle. I think this is one of those games where I don't know. Like Seattle's got a hot hand. I think LA is that wake up call. I think they put a stop to it right now. I think it's one of those things where these teams are going to meet again in the playoffs potentially. And I think whoever doesn't get the edge in the regular season might get that edge in the playoffs. But I think the Rams win this weekend. I think they halt the Seattle. I think it'll be a really good game. But I think the Rams kind of give them a little wake up call, give them a little nudge, and they take this game against the Seahawks.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I think the Rams take this game. Both teams are super legit. I think these are the best two teams in the NFC. Sam Darnold is playing out of his mind. JSN also playing out of his mind. With adding Rashid Shaheed for some deep ball territory, but I think that when it comes to the Rams having Devontae Adams, Puka, MVP candidate Matt Stafford, I think the Rams get this done. It's not going to be an easy win. I think that this is going to be I think this is the game of the week, and I think it will come down to the wire. It's going to be a very close game, but I think not the Chargers, wrong Los Angeles team. I think the Rams pull this out.
I think I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure whether if they do, but I just feel like they do. I mean, in general, the Rams have the Seahawks number. I think they know how to play them pretty well, and this. I know it's a divisional game, and it's really hard to ever like. That's what makes this so hard. Is it's a divisional game again with two teams that are at the very top. That is way too hard to be able to guess. However, I will say that I think this game is very indicative of whether the Seahawks are really a legit contender in terms of how they will compete in this game. I think the Rams, if they handle them pretty well, it will kind of make us take a step back on Seattle. But I think this is the Rams game to lose just because of how they have played against Seattle in the past. So I'm going to go with Rams.
And we'll keep it in the NFC West, move down from there as the NFL just loves to make us watch as much NFC West football as they can, it seems. We get the 49ers in Arizona is literally the matchups just trade from last week. San Francisco plays Arizona, while Arizona has kind of certainly found at least a little bit of an offense lately. They certainly haven't found a defense. I think San Francisco takes that game, continues their momentum, and still kind of keeps them in the hunt for a division title, just in case one of those teams above them fall.
I'm going to take the Niners here. I mean, the Cardinals are just bonfire right now. I mean, you have Jacoby Brissett at QB, who's not playing bad whatsoever, but I don't think that they will be able to compete with the Niners. I mean, both teams are not in the best position, but one team has a better record than the other for a reason, and I think the Niners pull this out.
Yeah, I don't see a world where San Francisco loses this game. I think Mac Jones is playing better than Jacoby, and I truthfully just don't see any type of world where Arizona can pull some bit of momentum out. Again, that Cowboys game wasn't really telling us anything. I know they scored 27, but it seems like anybody can do that against the Cowboys last week. And it's what's funny is the winners of both, like you said, the NFC West game switched. The winners are now playing each other. The losers are playing each other. And if we watch both of those games, in which team actually showed more of a valiant effort in the collection of those two games, it would be San Francisco. So again, they're showing more fight, and I'd have to go San Fran here.
100%. And now we go to Ohio for the trap game. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
We're skipping over this game. Cleveland lost to the Jets. Anyways, that'll take us to Kansas City and Denver at 4:25, and what is officially America's game of the week. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo over there in Denver will be commentating that game on CBS. Denver coming off an abysmal performance against the Las Vegas Raiders, and Kansas City coming off a bye week where Patrick Mahomes was over at game day. I think Kansas City blows them out in this game. That's my bold prediction. I think Kansas City beats the shit out of Denver in this game. And this is no means saying Denver's a bad team. They're 8-2, right? They're second in the AFC. As Nick quoted to me, I believe the other night, the worst 8-2 team I've ever seen in my life.
Can I add to that?
Add to it.
The worst 8-2 team, and I know they weren't 8-2 because they were undefeated since that Steelers team in 2020.
That team was horrendous.
And we went 11-0. And then we lose. And it all ends once we lose to Alex Smith on his return. That ended it for. But you guys, I digress.
Yeah. I got Chiefs in an ass whooping Sunday at 4:25. How about you, Tanner?
I think the Broncos and Chiefs always play each other hard. I feel like year in, year out when this matchup happens, that the no matter who is better than who, this always ends up being a really close game. The Broncos lost to the Chiefs last year in a heartbreaking fashion with a blocked field goal to win the game. I think this is closer than people would expect it to be. I say RJ. I think that this is a close game, and I think the Chiefs end up winning 100%. I don't think the Broncos really stand a chance here. Their record doesn't really show who they really are. The Chiefs are only getting hotter since Rashee Rice came back. That offense looks brand spanking new. They're gonna come up and run through the playoffs, I'm sure. I'm gonna take the Chiefs here.
RJ, you really got me fired up. I would absolutely love to see the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs, and I don't think anybody here does. But I would absolutely love the Chiefs to wipe them off the face of the earth. Yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think that's what's gonna happen, but I want them to show the world that we've been shown multiple weeks that Denver's not a legit team, and they just keep winning these games because of their defense. Until a team mollywops them, they're just gonna continue to be this team on top of the AFC that everyone's like, oh, I have one of my buddies telling me, oh, they're the team to beat. They're the team to beat. I keep hearing that. They're the team to beat. And it's just like, who is scaring you on that offense? Who on the tell me right now, who on that offense is putting fear into the enemy, into the opponent's
Marvin Mims.
Marvin Mims is out. He's not even playing.
Yeah, I know. He's on my IR.
But no, to me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to go the Chiefs.
Nice. Well, that'll take us down to Sunday Night Football. Detroit, Philadelphia. I talked about this a little bit earlier. I think Detroit takes this handedly. I would also love for this to be an ass whooping, maybe if it wasn't in prime time. But I think Detroit takes this one, and honestly, I think it'll be another shootout. Philadelphia is really inconsistent. They can give you a game like they gave you tonight, or they can go put up 30 points next week against Detroit. So we never know, but I think nonetheless, whether it's high or low scoring, I think Detroit wins this game.
I think the Lions pull this out as well. I'm not impressed by the Eagles whatsoever. Saquon, coming off the amazing year he had last year, isn't quite doing anything near that right now. And forcing Jalen Hurts to throw the ball is probably the best bet teams have at winning games when it comes down to beating the Eagles. Lane Johnson got hurt.
Yeah, so he had an ankle injury. He was questionable return. He actually returned on the sideline, and he came in for the last drive. So
I did see that. So I don't know how well he's going to recover throughout the week and come in to play the Lions. If he does come back in, I mean, that's very helpful to the Eagles O-line. But I think the Lions still pulled this off.
Dude, he came in the last drive just for Nick Sirianni to be like, 4th down, we're going for it.
oh my gosh, that was the worst thing.
Lost the game.
I find it so funny how many people talk about if you have the quarterback and you have the coach, that makes you a Super Bowl contender. The Eagles won the Super Bowl with neither. I can name so many more quarterbacks that I'd have other than Jalen Hurts, and I can name so many more coaches that I'd have other than Nick Sirianni. So, Sirianni to me is they won the Super Bowl in spite of him. So, I'm gonna have to. Tanner, did you make? Yeah, you made your pick, correct? Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Detroit as well. I feel like they're getting their get back, and these games are personal. They absolutely wanted to play Philadelphia last year, but they didn't get to. I feel like if Detroit had went to that NFC or the championship game, the NFC championship, they would have had a better fight than the Commanders did. Just how I feel about that. I think Detroit got their get. I know it was against Mariota, whatever, but they got their get back. They absolutely wanted to get their get back, and now they're going to get it again here against Philadelphia.
And that will take us to last, but I would say not least, but this might be the least. Anticipated game of the week, and that's the Dallas Cowboys going against the Las Vegas Raiders.
What are you talking about? They got Quentin Williams.
Oh, yeah. Quentin Williams' debut with the Dallas Cowboys.
And Logan Wilson.
And Logan Wilson also on that team, which means Geno Smith will have at least 4 interceptions in this game.
It's funny you say that because I was making a parlay for the Broncos-Raiders game, and I told my buddy, I was looking at the odds. I said, hey, Geno Smith has better odds to throw a pick than a touchdown right now?
Jeez, man.
And he goes, that he said, that's crazy, but I'm not the kind of guy to bet on an interception. And guess what happened? A Geno Smith interception.
It's almost inevitable.
It is almost inevitable. I would love to see my king, Kenny Pickett, get into a game and do some revitalize his career. But that's
With
not
that
gonna.
team, no.
That would not happen in Las Vegas. And I think that the Cowboys light the Raiders on fire and win this game by at least 10.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be a great week of football for sure. Primetime football. We have the Jets and the Patriots on Thursday night, and the Cowboys and Raiders on Monday night. So, certainly a great booking of the primetime games by the folks at the NFL this middle of the season. Usually it kind of turns out that way. Sometimes we start off the season pretty strong, and then we just end up tanking all the way through. So we'll see what happens, certainly, in this upcoming week. I think a lot of great football games. It's that point of the year where these games, we're not at the playoffs yet, but these games really do matter I mean, every game matters, but these games are really starting to matter as you start to kind of build your scenarios of what you need to do to make the playoffs. So as for the Saints, we got to win out every week, baby, and we can get that 7th seed. But in back to realism here, certainly a big week for a lot of teams in the league. In college news, college game day is going to Pitt. Our buddy over here, Tanner's going to attempt to put his name in the hat and try to kick a field goal for however many dollars Pat McAfee and company puts up. So
listen, I'm going to put Nick, I don't know if you knew this. I kicked for football in high school.
Oh.
I was 27 for 31 on all kick attempts. I played soccer my entire life and played a semester of soccer in college. This is golden opportunity. I will be at Pitt versus Notre Dame this Saturday.
Let's go.
I will be there 10 a.m. sharp. Throw my name in that hat and pray Pat McAfee pulls my name, because I will steal every ounce of money out of that man's pocket. that is a golden opportunity for me to boost my bank account by a couple figures. You know, he's gonna. I can't wait, man. I think that this is gonna be the greatest football game I've ever attended in my life. I'm so excited.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
I saw a lot of comments that people are pissed off that Pat McAfee and College Game Day are coming to Pitt instead of Texas, Georgia. But this is what I have to say, right? We see way too much coverage on the SEC.
SEC, yep.
We see way too much SEC
ACC
coverage, and I am sick of it. I am so happy that number 10 Notre Dame and number 24 ranked Pitt are gonna get some coverage on big noon football this Saturday. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Can't wait for that big game for Pitt. Notre Dame kind of trying to protect themselves, obviously, as they've come up the ranks recently, and Pitt trying to rally, trying to get that conference win. So it'll be a good day of college football. Great day of NFL football. Can't wait. I see on my TV, SportsCenter hyping up the potential return of Joe Burrow. Potentially,
I'm watching the same exact thing.
Yeah. I don't think he comes back till December. They're
saying potentially 2 more games without Burrow at Steelers versus Patriots, and he could come back against the Ravens on Thanksgiving, I believe.
Whoa.
So
that's being very
crazy, because they were saying, oh, maybe he could come back by the playoffs, but he put some drugs in that toe. Or just numbed it, right? Can't feel it at all. And
he said it's like one of the worst injuries he's actually ever suffered. So I don't. Yeah. In terms of it hurt a lot. He knew it was gonna be bad.
I saw a report saying that the turf toe involved torn ligaments in his foot as well.
Oh yeah.
And turf toe in itself sucks. You know, it doesn't sound super serious, but have you seen what turf toe looks like?
It's like I don't know. I haven't
bones and ligaments
seen
get all
exactly what it
stuff.
looks like.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, is it not just like a? I saw an explanation of it, but I can't quite put 2 and 2 together and remember everything.
Well, I guess we will find out. See how quick Burrow comes back. But nonetheless, everybody, we appreciate everybody riding along. And appreciate you guys coming along, talking some football here. It is 12:53 a.m. here on the East Coast for everybody. I believe we're all on the Eastern time, as they're still wrapping up post-game from where were they? Oh, Lambeau Field. Got Ryan Clark, the GOAT, out there talking ball. We love – don't fuck Ryan Clark. Nonetheless, it's going to be a great weekend of football. Excited. Big Sunday full of football. And we'll certainly look forward to watching those games and maybe see what primetime game we can do. Maybe potentially a little watch along with, see what awesome primetime game. Are we going to watch the Jets and Patriots, or are we going to watch the Cowboys and the Raiders? Or are we gonna watch a Sunday game? I don't know, man. We're gonna figure something out. But until next time, this has been